Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Happy 2016. I hope you are having a fabulous new year. Today I'm creating a project with kind of a love theme, and I'm using some of the new products from Pretty Pink Posh that are being released today. Here's a look at a couple of the dies that are being released. I'll be using both of these in my project today. This is the Scallop Squares die set, and this here is the Stitched tab die set, and I love this because I can use it in my planner as well as on cards. And you know that no Pretty Pink Posh release would be complete without some new sequins. So we have the Share Kindness mix, and check out these. I love these. These are the mini star confettis. They come in iridescent, gold, and silver. They are by far my favorite new little thing in the Pretty Pink Posh release. And there's also the new Sea Breeze sequin color, which you saw on my mat there. So I'm starting out by separating my stitch tab dies. I'm just using my Elizabeth Craft die snips there. And now I'm going to cut a couple of stitched rectangles using the second smallest of the large stitched rectangle dies from Lawn Fawn. Did you follow that? I'm just cutting them out of a couple of different pattern papers here. And once I get those stitched rectangles created, I'm going to lay that stitched tab die along the top of those and run them through my die cut machine. Now by starting with the stitched rectangle, I'm going to have stitching all the way around this shape that I'm creating. You could definitely do it without the stitched rectangle. I just thought it would be fun to kind of have the stitching go all the way around the edge. Once I got those little kind of file tab cards created, I went ahead and used my Nesting Hearts dies to cut a little heart window in that top card that I created. And for my sentiment, I'm going to use this Mama Elephant stamp set. This is called the Blogging Buddies stamp set, and I love the adorable little sentiments in this. And since I was creating that little heart detail, I decided to pull out this little teeny tiny heart die. This is from the Stitched Labels 1 die set from Pretty Pink Posh. I'm going to hold it in place with some micro pour tape and then run that through my die cut machine as well. And that creates a fun little heart detail on that tab. So for my sentiment, I'm just inking it up in some Hero Arts black dye ink. This sentiment says love you, and I'm going to stamp it. It fits perfectly in that little tab. And now I'm just going to use just a little regular old office date stamp. I'm going to ink it up in some black ink and stamp it onto that, kind of creating a library card feel on this little card that I've created. Now I'm going to adhere these together using some foam tape. This is going to create a little dimension and kind of add a little interest to that heart window that I've created. So I've added some foam tape along the back, and then I'm just going to kind of adhere it over that top chevron pattern one, kind of at an angle. And then I'm just tying some twine on here. Now, I have to tell you, I totally botched this later, so I ended up having to recreate this, and you'll see that later on. But once I got that little grouping kind of layered up there, I thought it needed a landing place. And so I am just taking that same pattern paper that I used before. It's kind of that notebook pattern paper, and I'm using the Scallop Squares dies to kind of create a little frame. And then that inner portion, I cut that stitch tab along the side of that as well. And I'll go through and add those little heart detail windows like I did on that pink chevron piece there, using that same teeny tiny heart from the Stitch Label 1 dies. So now that I have my groupings kind of all figured out, I'm going to adhere all this onto a piece of white linen. This is actually a white linen card base. This white linen cardstock has been one of my favorite items lately. I'm using a little two-way glue pin to adhere that onto the card base. And then I've added some more foam tape to the back of this grouping. I'm going to adhere that kind of middle piece that I created the little tab on as well to the back of this little stacked up card piece. And then I'll adhere all of that onto the card front, but not before I totally mess it up. So I kind of decided I wanted to create like this shadowed effect. And so I inked that up in some pink ink and totally messed it up. So you're seeing me here. I recreated this little card piece, and instead of stamping that date in black this time, I used Hero Arts bubblegum ink. It was kind of a happy little accident because I ended up adding a couple of those little die cut hearts here on this tab. I cut them from a little bit of gold glitter cardstock as well as that pink chevron paper that I used before. So I kind of, when I re-stamped this sentiment, I shifted it over to the right a little bit and then added those little die cut hearts. So maybe it was a good thing that I messed up. And then when I got that recreated, I went ahead and adhered it onto the card base using a little tape runner adhesive. And that, by the way, will not be my only mess up on this card. So now I've just cut some more of those nesting hearts from some various pattern papers and glitter cardstock, and I'm just adhering those around the card front using some foam tape and some tape runner adhesive. And then I rounded the bottom right hand corner using my 3/8 inch corner chomper from We Are Memory Keepers. And then, of course, I'm going to add some of my favorite sequins, which are the sparkling clear sequins. And I just like to kind of tuck those in places and add them on. I even added one to that little tab at the top. Now here's where I totally screw up the card. I love this sentiment from Mama Elephant. It's from the confetti stamp set. I inked it up in some Hero Arts black ink and then stamped it into my card base. Totally messed it up. And so I was trying to convince myself that I could live with it. And so I kind of continued on with the card here. I added this little mini paper clip from Tim Holtz and then squirted a little multi-medium behind it to kind of keep it in place. And I could not convince myself that I could live with that half stamped sentiment on the inside. And I did try to restamp it and screwed it up even more. So I carefully took this over to my trimmer and then trimmed it down. And then I'm going to add this onto a card base. Now, that mess up might have been a saving grace also because I ended up adding it to a pale rose card base, which I end up loving so much more. But you're going to see me stamp this on the inside of that pale rose card base. It says, "To you from me with love." And then I'm going to, since I trimmed this down and the proportion was just a little bit different, I added just a little bit of my favorite black and white striped pattern paper. This is from the Avery Ells Neutral 6x6 pattern paper pad. I added that along the side of that card front. And now I'm going to attach it onto my card base with a layer of the fun foam behind it. So I've just added some Be Creative tape to that fun foam, and then I'm going to attach it to the back of my card front and then attach that entire thing to my card base. So in the end, my little blunders kind of ended up being kind of happy accidents because they led to things that I kind of ended up changing on the card, and I ended up really liking a whole lot better. But that completes my card for today. I hope you enjoyed this project. This project is a part of the Pretty Pink Posh January release blog hop. So if you want more information about that blog hop, along with a chance to win one of two $25 Pretty Pink Posh gift certificates, be sure to head on over to my blog to check that out. As always, I will have links to all the products used in this project in the description at YouTube, as well as over at my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com, where you can see more still shots. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this project, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.